This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your me, Louie Tee? Welcome to lockdown coverage, week number 7 in the National Football League. The San Diego Superchargers taking on the Atlanta Falcons in what turned out to be the best game of the day. Of course, that game would be somewhat topped, I guess, on Sunday night. 33-30, really action-packed, 6-6 tie. Close enough. This was a hell of a football game, and I knew it would be. And if you had a chance to watch my truth video, NFL Facts, and I'll be a lot of people have liked the series thus far. So right now it's a go, and I'll continue to produce those. But if you haven't, you need to take a look at it. It's a quick video, about 3 minutes long. And I said in the video, San Diego Chargers, one of the best 2-4 teams you've ever seen. And people said, what? And I said this actually when they were 1-4. I went on a program, Will to Win, and I actually said this on my own program, Louie Tee Live. I said the San Diego Chargers are the most well-rounded team in the AFC West, and they're the most dangerous team in that division. And again, no one paid me any attention. This Chargers team, not a game to be played with. Sorry to say, but the Falcons had to find that out the hard way. Let's break this game down. But before we do, you know how we like to do it here. I got to let you guys know what's really good. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Louie Tee Network. And subscribe. Hit that button for more great content in 2016 and beyond. We're changing the game over here, and I want you guys to be a part of that. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and be a part of something that's growing into the best YouTube NFL channel on this entire platform. So that's what we're doing over here, man. We're changing the game. I want you to be a part of it. Also on Twitter, @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter. You want notifications as to when these videos are being uploaded. You want notifications as to when I post a new video, do a live video, anything, or you just want to chop it up with your man Louie Tee. Whatever the case may be, hit me up on Twitter @InTheLabRoom. Go ahead and follow me. Also, I'm on Facebook, starting to get a hang of the Facebook Live thing. So that's going to be something that I look to explore here in the near future. So go ahead, get ahead of the curve. Already like the page. So when I start doing exclusive content on Facebook, you don't have anything to worry about. You won't miss a single thing. That being said, all my social media platforms right up above, scrolling across the screen at the top so you don't miss anything. But let's get to this breakdown, man. What a football game this was. I knew it was going to be a good game. I thought at 27-10, like most Falcons fans, hey, those boys got them. But in typical Chargers fashion, it wouldn't be a Chargers game unless somebody was ahead by way too much and the other team came back and made it a ball game. Normally, it's the Chargers on the wrong side of this. They actually got to be on the right side of it for once. Let's break this game down in only the way that I know how. Likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe. And we're going to start with the road team as normal here on this program, and that's the Chargers in their first half likes. Opening drive of the game was flawless. They moved it right down the field. Phillip Rivers hooking up with Williams, something he would do all game long, running the football effectively. And I'll tell you something about Melvin Gordon right now. And we're going to talk about him at depth a little bit later on in the breakdown, but he's a guy with a knack for finding the end zone. Remember, he didn't have any touchdowns in his rookie season. This season, you can't keep this guy out of the end zone. He may not have a gaudy yards per average rush. He may be averaging 2.9 yards or 3.3 yards throughout the course of the game. But one thing you can't do is deny this man the end zone. When they get inside the 5, this guy smells the end zone, and he's finding ways to get in. And he did it again in this football game. Got into the end zone on the opening possession to give the Chargers an early 7-0 lead. Tyrell Williams, a.k.a. J. Cole. Does this guy not look like J. Cole to you? I mean, I look him in the face and I'm like, how much for your soul, man? How much for your soul? And so this guy is a beast. And I remember specifically giving out to anyone that would listen. I told you, I haven't slept at a Holiday Inn, and no, I don't play fantasy football, but anybody that was willing to listen about a month and a half ago, the second that their receiver, Keenan Allen, went down, I said, look, man, if anybody's listening, go pick up Tyrell Williams off of your fantasy waiver wire. Go pick him up. Phillip Rivers is going to throw this young man the ball. I saw it week 1 versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Him catching the football and running past guys. I told everybody at work that plays in fantasy leagues, I said, hey, Chargers got this dude named Tyrell Williams. Pick him up. You need a player, pick him up. The young man is balling out there in San Diego. Had another big game. J. Cole, a.k.a. Tyrell Williams, breaking dudes off in that Falcons secondary. Had a big game. He was on my first half likes list. And the defense forcing field goal attempts for the Atlanta Falcons in this game. They were really doing a good job early of forcing. It was 10-6. Falcons they were moving the football. You could see it was a precursor to what would happen, that explosion that would happen later in the second quarter. But early in the game, when the Falcons were moving the football, settling for field goals, give some credit to this Chargers defense. They buckled down early, but just like last game versus the Seahawks, there was a 21-point explosion waiting to happen. And, of course, it came in the second quarter. Falcons went bananas. And speaking of which, that leads me right into the Falcons in their first half likes. Let's go ahead and jump into that. First things first. How about those black Dirty Bird throwbacks? Oh, my goodness. Ooh-wee. Those things were sweet. Good gracious, man. Took me back to the old Dirty Bird Jamal Anderson days, man. What y'all know about Sean Jefferson and Burt Emanuel? What y'all know about Scott, what is it, Chris Chandler? What y'all know about that, man? Took me back, man. Good gracious, those jerseys was crisp. Dion Jones with an interception, man. The young fella continues to play good football, man. Dion Jones getting it done for this Falcons football team. Almost took it to the crib again. Remember, he already had a 90-yard pick six versus the New Orleans Saints. He was looking to get to the crib again. The phone was ringing. Bring, bring. He thought it was a house call. He was ready to pick up. House call for Dion Jones, but he never made it to the phone, man. Great play, though. Off the carom, picks it off, makes a guy miss, and he was off to the races. Tyrell Williams had to catch him from behind. Next, like Jet and Ice. They're as cold as ice. They're willing to sacrifice. Jet and Ice breaking dudes off since 2006. These boys have been at it all season long, giving it to folks left and right. And I'll tell you right now, man, I don't know if it was 2006, 2008, but they've been giving it to folks since Julio's gotten into the league, and they're doing it big this year. And the special thing about what's happening this year is there's really no definite number two in Atlanta. It's just a bunch of other dudes. You know, a couple of tight ends, Tammy and Toy Lolo, and your rookie Austin Hooper, and then at receiver, it's Sanu, it's Hardy, it's Robinson, it's whomever. He's just spreading the ball around, but you know when the game's on the line, when they gotta have it, Julio is getting them football. You know what time it is, man. And Jet and Ice were getting nasty. Ice, baby. They would get nasty in the first half of this game, and hell, they would get nasty in the second half. Those boys stay getting freaky, man. You got to watch them because they'll do you. They'll do you if you let them. They were trying to do the San Diego Chargers by themselves. Tevin Coleman, man. Love me some Tevin Coleman. TC. That's what they call him. Man, that young fellow looked explosive in that first half. Too bad the Falcons lost him in this game. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But TC was running the rock. He came in. He was explosive, had the big run for the touchdown. Great job by Andy Levitre with the kick-out block, blocking two dudes on one play, springing my man TC as he rumbled into the end zone. Rumble, young man, rumble for the touchdown. Vic Beasley! Vic Beasley! Two more of them things, Let me find out, man. Let me find out Vic Beasley has found the magic potion. He figured it out. I don't know what the hell he figured out, but he figured it out. And I'm happy because that was my guy in that draft. In the 2015 draft, Vic Beasley was my guy. I was like, man, this guy is going to be a beast at the next level. And it didn't happen last year. It didn't happen early on in this season. But the last couple of weeks, he's figured it out. My goodness, Vic Beasley. You sly devil, you. With the sack, forced fumble. Adrian Claiborne scoops it up, gets the touchdown. I hate his dreads, by the way. They look dirty. They look nasty. They look like they stink. But he scooped up the fumble, got in the end zone. And all of a sudden, man, the route is on. Phillip Rivers and company looks like they just saw the headlights and they're a deer, and this thing is over. It's 27-10, man. And Phillips got that look on his face like, how the hell did we get here? We were just up 10-6. And it happened so fast. It was a blur. I mean, Tevin Coleman touchdown. Then you get the forced fumble. I mean, it happened quick. You know, Jacob Tammy catches a touchdown pass. It happened so fast. It was like bang, bang, boom, bam. It's 27-10. This game is over. I guarantee you, 95% of you Falcon fans was out there. Yeah, man, we nice. We about to do these boys, man. We killing these jive turkeys. Y'all thought the game was over. You thought wrong. They have number 17 on their sideline, just in case you forgot. And you remember you guys were like, hey, our guy, Matty Ice, playing at an MVP-like level. Guess who else is playing at an MVP-like level? Guy on the opposite sidelines. So he had to come in and calmly bring his team back. But it was a hell of a start. In that second quarter, 21 unanswered points for the Atlanta Falcons as they take a commanding 27-10 lead. Now, the last, and I forgot to mention this with the San Diego Chargers, but that last drive of the first half, game-saving, game-changing even. They needed that. Down 27-10, you needed a spark. And that score before the half, only the upper echelon quarterbacks in the league get that done. On the road, the crowd is at a fever pitch. You turned it over the last time you were on the field. You've just given up 21 unanswered. You look up at the scoreboard, you're down 3 scores. You were just up by 4. Not many quarterbacks can do what they did on that final possession of the first half. Phillip Rivers calmly taking his boys down the field, getting them into the end zone, and cutting that lead to 10 at 27-17 heading into the halftime break. That was huge. Speaking of which, let's get to the dislikes. We go to the Chargers in the first half. Phillip Rivers with the interception. Dion Jones picking him off. A great play by the opposite linebacker on that play to hit the running back. The ball comes off of his hands into the waiting arms of Dion Jones, who gets a great return on that interception. Unfortunately for the Falcons, they only were able to muster a field goal after the great field position. Griff Whalen with a muffed kickoff. What are you doing, dude? Okay, don't catch and then not catch the ball and have it go out at the 8-yard line. Can you do me a favor? Not do that? Thanks. Appreciate that. I mean, if you would have saw Phillip Rivers' face after he did that, he's like, come on, who is this guy? I don't even know him. Who the hell is Griff Whalen? What is he doing on our team? Why is he even back there? So, that led to a touchdown, too. And that was the start of that run that the Falcons was really going on because they had just scored a touchdown. They kick it off, and Griff Whalen has this just brain fart where he muffs the ball out of bounds. And you start at your own 8. You don't pick up any first downs. You got to punt from the shadow of your own goal line. Your punter doesn't get off the greatest of punts. They get the football already in Chargers territory. A couple plays later, they're in the end zone. Those are the types of plays that kill you. You don't really think about it, but it's a bad football play. It doesn't make any sense. And so that hurt. Phillip Rivers' fumble, scoop and score by Adrian Claiborne. That's a huge play in the game. That made it 27-10. And by all accounts, this game was over at that point. I mean, they really looked like they were done. Cooked, stick a fork in them, those boys are done. First half, dislikes for the Falcons. Giving up the momentum at the half with the TD was the only dislike I had for them. You're up 27-10. You're dominating this game. The crowd is involved. You're feeling good. Everything is going just the way you want it to. And then you give up a touchdown. And that throw that Phillip Rivers had over the middle to Williams, that was a huge throw on that drive. Got that drive started. Big play over the middle. Pocket collapsing in front of Phillip Rivers. Calmly delivers the football 30 yards up the field to Tyrell Williams, a.k.a. J. Cole. Big play to get that drive kicked off, and they didn't look back, and they scored a touchdown. And that would be the start of a lot of points by the Chargers and a little bit of points by the Atlanta Falcons in this game. That was my only dislike, though. Thought the defense did some good things, forcing all those turnovers, getting pressure on Phillip Rivers. The offense, 21 points in the second quarter. Come on, are you kidding me? They didn't do much wrong, but that was a momentum swing right before the half when the Chargers got that touchdown to cut the lead to 10 at 27-17. You go back to the Chargers and we go back to the likes. This time we're in the second half. Joey Bosa with 2 more sacks in this game. Folks, the guy's serious. 4 sacks on the season. Guy's getting it done. And I remember a bunch of people telling me he was going to be a bust, and I said, nah. Guy's got the best set of hands I've ever seen in terms of hand work and usage. You're not going to find a guy coming out of college using his hands as good as Joey Bosa did coming out of Ohio State. And I heard a lot of people saying, oh, well, he missed so much time. There's no way he's going to be effective when he comes back. They've wasted a year. And that actually came from a couple of GMs around the league. So much for what they know. Melvin Gordon III. That guy. No joke. 3 of those things in this game. And he had maybe the run of the game, late in the ball game. Dion Jones with a chance to really stick him. I mean, the contact was crucial. It was critical. No wrap-up. That's the problem with these young boys. They always think they're going to just put a shoulder on somebody. This is not college. You are not at LSU, and you're not playing against Central Michigan. Okay? Wrap him up. Melvin Gordon put that shoulder on his behind, bounced right off of him, and then proceeded to pick up 13 yards on a play that should have been -2. Melvin Gordon was playing his ass off in this game. That's what he was doing. Physical around the goal line, getting into the end zone, catching the football out of the backfield. He does it all for this Chargers offense. And since they've lost Danny Woodhead, he's had to pick up the slack in the receiving department, and he's done that. And he's been everything that they traded up in the draft a year ago to get. He's starting to prove huge dividends for this Chargers football team. Interception by Denzel Perryman. He had been battling injuries all game long. Made probably the biggest play of this game with this interception as the Falcons were looking to rally late to make sure that they secured this victory. Big play by Perryman to get that interception and give the Chargers a shot. 4th and 2 conversion to OG 85. Huge play in the game. They don't get that. This game is over. They had all 3 of the timeouts, but with the position that they would have been given up in terms of field position, a first down would have ended the game, and they might have already have been in field goal range. Even without a first down, you still probably are in Matt Bryant field goal range as he almost banged that 58-yarder home to end the game in regulation. So this was huge. You had to have it, and you got it on 4th and 2. OG 85 and Phils with that classic connection to keep the sticks moving and keep the Chargers' hopes alive in this game. Then you get the game-time field goal at 30 all. Josh Lambo was huge in this game, making every single one of his kicks. And it was improbable. Down 27-10. The Chargers only give up 3 points in the second half, rally and scored 20 points and 23 points to end up winning this game. They went on a serious run, did the Chargers, 23-3 in the second half and to overtime to come away with the victory. And then the OT 4th and 1 stop doesn't get much bigger than that. Big roll of the dice by the Falcons there to go for it at that point in the game, at that point on the field. And you knew that, look, that's one of those situations where, as a coach, you tell your players, y'all have to get this, okay? If y'all not going to get this, and of course, they're not going to say, no, coach, we're not going to get it. But in your mind, you're saying, hey, you can't go for this unless you're going to get it. Like, you can't. If you think there's any doubt You can't go for it there. And the thing that I didn't like was the fact that on 3rd and 1, they tried to go quarterback sneak. You already did that. Can't keep doing the quarterback sneak. They already seen that a couple times this game. Not going to work. Then 4th and 1, they sold out. If you come with play action there, you got those boys. They sold out for run. Half of their squad was in the backfield waiting on Devontae Freeman. And D. Free didn't stand a chance. Great stop by the Chargers defense. And that set up and set the table for the game-winning field goal as the Chargers roar back and steal this one 33-30. Let's get to the second half likes for the Falcons. The pressure that they put on Phillip Rivers in this game was huge. It was part of the reason they were able to jump out to the 27-10 lead. It's part of the reason why even into the fourth quarter they were still leading in this game. 2 sacks by Vic Beasley and a forced fumble by him. You get a sack by Claiborne, and you also get a sack by Brooks Reed. And then there were other pressures in the game by others. I just thought this was a phenomenal job by the Falcons front, getting to Phillip Rivers, making him uncomfortable, and forcing the issue. That being said, to only score 3 second-half points, not good. We'll get to that here in a second, but pressure on Phillip Rivers was my only like for the Falcons in the second half of this game, even though Julio, and Matty Ice did some good things in that second half. It was not enough. Dislikes in the second half, and for the Chargers, I don't have any. When you score 23 in the second half and overtime and only give up 3 and roar back from a 10-point deficit that was once 17, I don't have much to say to you in terms of bad things. You did everything. You pressed every right button. You did all the things that you needed to do to make this possible. I don't really have much to say in terms of dislikes in the second half for the San Diego Superchargers. You go to the Falcons in their second half dislikes. Robertson Thurese with a kick-catch interference. I thought this was the start of the scoring for the Chargers in the second half. They started out rather slow in the second half. Falcons playing some solid defense. It was a punting fest early on. Teams were trading punts. And then Robinson Thurese decides it's a good idea to just run over the punt returner and give up a free 15 yards. They would have been inside their own 20 and had he fair caught it, which is what he was going to do. Instead, they get the football at the 33-yard line, which is great field position. Nobody had seen that kind of field position, neither team, in the second half. And the Chargers took that field position, and they never looked back. Ended up getting a touchdown off of that possession, and that's when the tide started to turn in this game. They started to really make that push to get back into this ball game. The next thing I didn't like, dislike on my list, soft underneath. I thought, like I said, the Falcons were putting great pressure on Phillip Rivers throughout the game, and there was a drive at the end to tie it up at 30 where they matter of fact, it wasn't to tie it up at 30. It was a drive to get the touchdown. I want to say to get it to within 3 at 24-27. And you had a situation there where the Chargers were in 3rd and 11, 2nd and 16, 3rd and 10, and they converted every single one of those situations. And it was because the Falcons went soft on me. They were giving up so much space underneath. Their linebackers were dropping so far back that the checkdowns underneath were getting 10 and 11 and 9. On 2nd and 16, I think he checked it down to the tight end or to the running back, and they got like 14 on 2nd and 16, setting up a 3rd and 2 that they picked up. I mean, 3rd and 11, they shouldn't be picking that up. Not after you got to Phillip Rivers and forced the issue and put them in a long 3rd and long situation down in distance. You can't give that up. And they gave it up repeatedly on that drive. And then to me, what was a perfect ending to that drive, you want to be soft all drive long and give up all these easy catches underneath that go for big yardage. Give up the easy touchdown to Melvin Gordon out in the flats with nobody around. How easy was that? What the hell is the corner over there, Robert Alford, doing 7 yards into the end zone? Who are you stopping there, bruh? The goal line is that thick white line, he just got to have the tip of the football past that. What are you doing 7 yards in the end zone, man? You ain't in the middle of the field no more. I don't know what they were doing defensively. I just thought it was way too easy, too soft underneath. Tevin Coleman injury, hamstring injury. The thought right now is that he's not going to be able to play against Green Bay next week. That's a tough blow. And it was a tough blow in this game because he was running the rock. He was killing this Chargers defense. And when he left the game, I didn't think they were able to run the football with the same effectiveness. There's a different burst between he and D Free. TC, when he runs the rock, there's a burst where you're thinking at any moment this could go right now. You know, with Devontae, he's a little bit more shiftier, quicker change of pace in terms of change of direction. But when you're talking straight line speed, Tevin Coleman has it. And when they lost him, they lost an element of their offense. Self-destruction on promising drive with 2 false start penalties and then the interception on 1st and 20. So Falcons looking to put this game away. Got an opportunity to do so. And this reminded me a lot of the drive against the Seattle Seahawks. When you didn't need to run, you were up 2, or you didn't need to pass, you were up 2, and you decided to come out aggressive, and you throw the football, and it caroms off of Julio's hands and into the waiting arms of Earl Thomas. This reminded me of that. A lot of passing on this possession, but it was working. Okay, Julio got open on 1st down. Matt Ryan misses him, but then the next down, they come right back, play action fake, and he rips one to Julio over the middle for like 17. Then they run the football, get a nice chunk there, and then they get a 1st down, and then you're basically at midfield now. You're moving the football. You look like you're going to go get this field goal to take the lead and probably win this game. And instead, you get a false start penalty. And then another false start penalty. And now it's 1st and 20. And now Matt Ryan feels the need to force it, and then he throws an interception. So you're up 3 at this point in the game. There's no need to press. You're just looking to put this thing on ice, and you turn it over there. They get that opportunity. They get that field goal, and they tie this ball game up. Huge conversion on 4th and 2 to give them an opportunity to tie the game up. That they do, and this game goes to overtime. Had your opportunities, got back into field goal range, but it was 58, and he drilled it. Matt Bryant hit it flush, but it just was about a yard short as it hit the crossbar and clanked off. Also, let's go to the dislikes now. That was my last like. This is the dislikes. Missed tackle by Dion Jones in overtime. Come on, bruh. Wrap up. Wrap him up. Wrap him up. Wrap him up. You didn't wrap up. You let the man off the hook. And like I said, Melvin Gordon was running like a man possessed, ran right through that and picked up 13 en route to helping his team get down the field after the failed 4th and 1 by the Atlanta Falcons. You go for it on 4th and 1. And like I said earlier, that's one of those situations where if you're going to go for it, you better get it. You better get it. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't in love with the play call because the Chargers were selling out for run. If you come play action fake there, even if Matt is keeping that and running himself, he probably picks it up because they all sold out for run. And if there was any boot action on that and a tight end leaking out into the flats, that's a 1st down and it may be a touchdown. They sold out for the run on that play. They guessed right. And the Falcons did not stand a chance to convert on that 4th down. Huge win for the San Diego Chargers. Down 17 in the first half. Everything looked bleak after the sack, strip, forced fumble, scoop, and score. And they rallied the troops, get the touchdown before the half, played great defense in the second half, only allowed 3 points, tie it up, send it to overtime, get the huge stop, and win the game 33-30. In overtime to get to 3-4 on the season. They're right in the thick of things in the AFC West division. They still got a long ways to go. Still got a lot of ground to make up with all the games they've blown early on. I don't know if they'll be able to make up that ground or not, but I'll tell you this much. They're going to be in that hunt. They're not going to go away. This is a good Chargers football team, and I think everyone's starting to wake up to the fact that don't let the record fool you. The Chargers are a good football team. And they've had so many injuries, despite the injuries. And I know we beat their front office up all the time for the mismanagements and some of the things that they do wrong. But make no mistake about it. This roster has depth because they've had a ton of injuries. Going back to last year, a ton of injuries. Injuries galore this year. Every week they're losing a new player, and yet they're still competing and competing at a damn high level. And that's because of depth. Nothing else. That, and of course, number 17 for the Rivers. Gives you a chance every week. Love that guy. Let's get to some of your comments. Let me check Twitter real quick and make sure that nope, there's no Twitter comments. Let's see what you guys got to say. DG Production says, should I be concerned or are the Chargers just better than people thought based on their record? And is he still Matty Ice for throwing that pick? LOL. He's good, man. I'm not taking Matty Ice from him. He'd have to play really, really, really bad. He's playing exceptional football. That was a bad throw, bad decision, but he had played well up until that point. I don't put it on him. You up 17. I expect the defense to find a way to hold on to that game. Now, I will say this. You like the offense to generate more than 3 points in the second half. After exploding for 27 in the first half, you'd expect them to be able to score more than 3 in the second half, but you still would love to be able to stop them and not allow them. Put it this way, where Dan Quinn came from, if you spotted that defense a 17-point lead at 27-10 at half, don't expect the other team to tie that football game up. And that's what he's trying to build in Atlanta, and they don't have it right now. No, you shouldn't be concerned. The Chargers are a really good team. What you should be concerned about, yes, you should be concerned about something, and that is blowing leads. Because if you remember, you were up big against the Carolina Panthers, and you allowed that to get down to as close as a one-score game before putting those boys away. Against New Orleans, you made it a shootout. You destroyed those guys on the offensive end, but defensively you were giving it up. And I know it's the Saints, and they scored a ton of points, but still, you're giving up points on defense. That's a problem, and you should be worried about that. But as far as losing to the Chargers is concerned, no, they're a good football team. Don't let the record fool you. I've been trying to explain this to people, and I did that on my Truth video. And again, facts. If you haven't checked out NFL Facts, check that out. I told you that this Chargers team is legit. Captain Spartan 04 says, I bought this Falcons product you sold me to buy in the first weeks. It doesn't taste good as I thought you were selling. Hey, look, man, don't turn your back on these Falcons because of this loss. Don't do that. Don't do that. They're still a good football team. I'm going to tell you what, though. Now they need to win this week versus Green Bay. This is a big one now. This one just got a lot bigger because of this loss. You had these boys, and you let them off the hook. Now you got to make up for it. But make no mistake about it. When it's all said and done, the Falcons are still going to win. Even if they start struggling, they're still the best team in that division, the NFC South. Even with Tampa at 3-3 and already having beat this Falcons team, Tampa's not serious. They're not for real. I don't trust those boys. Carolina's done. I stuck a fork in them 2 weeks ago. All right. New Orleans, they can't play enough defense to be considered serious. So this is the best you got in the NFC South. So don't sell the stock that I just told you to buy. You buy low and you sell high. Don't sell the stock now. Don't sell it. Wait till these boys are 11-5, and then if you want to sell the stock, you're gonna make a lot of money off of it. Then don't sell it now. Eagle Speed is a nerd says, I was pissed every play when we played that zone defense. I came to the conclusion it doesn't work on this team. Yeah, underneath stuff was wide open, and I got really frustrated with watching that because as a fan of the Redskins, I watched my defensive coordinator piss away a game to Matthew Stafford in the same fashion. Soft zone coverage, guys wide open underneath, easy completions. You can't do that to good quarterbacks in this league. They'll pick that garbage apart. You want to drop 8 and play soft zone coverage against rookies? Yeah, you might be able to confuse them. They haven't seen this many defenders in the secondary. Maybe you'll get them. But these veterans, these wily vets around the league, man, they eat that for breakfast, man. Are you serious? Matthew Stafford was grinning ear to ear. No pressure. Okay, I'll just pick that apart. Touchdown. You know, Phillip Rivers was like, really? Y'all been getting pressure on me all game and y'all going to sit back in soft zone coverage? I appreciate it. I needed a break. Thanks. Archangel says, all the Falcons fans are livid about the zone D we played yesterday, and you should be. That was atrocious. Look, this is how I feel. And I said this about my team, and I'll say it about any team that thinks it's a good idea to drop into soft zone coverage when the game's on the line, especially. I much rather go guns a-blazing. I want to empty the clip. I want no more bullets left in my gun. I much rather err on the side of aggression than being overly cautious. Because when you're cautious, you give quarterbacks an opportunity to survey the field and pick you apart. If you're aggressive and they beat you, okay, you got me, man. You got me. Make a play. You guys, unlike my team against Detroit, we were banged up in the secondary. No Josh Norman. He had gotten hurt. So I think my coordinator might have been a little apprehensive to go man-to-man. You guys have the corners to man up and say, all right, I got Alford out here. I got the young fella Poole. I got my other star corner in Desmond Trufant. I'm going to lock your boys up across the board, man-to-man. Beat me if you can. If you do, I tip my cap to you. You got me. But I'm not going to sit back and allow you to throw into open holes in zone and beat me like that. I wouldn't allow it to happen. Eagle Speed is a nerd says, I think Dan Quinn should stop playing that weak zone defense or he has to go. Well, that's not really, well, I'm going to tell you what. Coming from Seattle, that's what they like to do. They like to get pressure with 4 and they play cover 3 behind it. And that's all they really do in Seattle, but they play it so well. But I tell you this much, they don't have that defense yet installed in Atlanta. They can't get away with the things that they get away with in Seattle. So he's going to have to make some adjustments. It's as simple as that. He's got to make some adjustments. All right, Angel says, I loved our all-black jerseys. I've been watching and supporting my team since 91, man. I love those unis, man. Takes me back. I said it all yesterday that Coleman Hammy hurt our momentum in that game. Yeah, it hurt big time. Because when he left the game, your running game left the game, okay? He was running that rock on those boys. And the minute he left, you became a one-dimensional football team. And it hurt you. Especially down the stretch where you were trying to milk the clock and kind of be a little bit more conservative. And you didn't have that element available to you anymore because there was more. And not to say that D. Free can't run the football, but he wasn't as effective as Tevin Coleman in this game. Captain Spartan 04 says, Vic Beasley, product of playing against bad offensive lines. I don't give a damn what you call it. Go out and ball, young fella. Rumble, young man rumble. And that he did in this game. 2 more sacks for Vic Beasley as he got to Phillip Rivers. And Phillip Rivers in that offensive line hasn't been that bad this year, to be honest with you. So he played well. Archangel says, Dion Jones makes a good play on the interception. He also makes a bad play on the missed tackle. But the young pups, he'll learn. You got to wrap him up when you hit him. He going to learn. I think that was a big learning experience there. Teachable moment in the film study room. When they get that on tape, they're going to show him, look, young fella, I love the way you feel. You came with aggressiveness. You hit him hard. Just got to wrap up. Simple play. Wrap up and you got him. DG Production says, is our defense holding us back since we can't hold these big leads? And how do you feel about the 4th and 1 call by Dan? I know you say scared money don't make money. So my mindset at that point in the game was I would have punted. You're too deep in your own territory. If that was at midfield, okay, yeah, I go for it, 4th and 1. You were at your own 40 essentially, like 41, 42. You don't even need a first down to be into Josh Lambo field goal range. They could have just picked up 8 yards on the next set of downs, and then they would have been in field goal range. It would have been a long one, 50, 51, 49, but I would take that kick to put yourself in a position where your defense doesn't stand a chance unless they get a penalty. I don't like that call. You're just putting too much on one play in that game. You played too well. Allow that defense to get a stop. Do you not trust your defense that much that you're afraid to kick it? And you had good field position to the point where you would have punted from your own, 28-yard line or so. If Matt Bosher gets off a good enough kick, you might pin those boys inside the 20. They got to go. And I know they only need a field goal, but make those boys go get a field goal. I didn't like that move, but I don't have a problem with it. He thought his offense could get 1 yard. If you can't pick up 1 yard, you don't deserve to win. You know how I like to say that, but that wasn't the time to go for it in my estimation. And yeah, your defense has to be better. But I told you this in the preseason when we were talking about this Falcons team and the youngins. You got a lot of young guys on that defense. There's going to be growing pains, okay? There's going to be growing pains with this defense because there's so many young players on it. So you got to expect to have some lapses in concentration, some defensive breakdowns. Some plays are going to be made against your defense because it's young. But these lumps are necessary. If you want this defense to get better, these lumps are necessary for them to make the necessary adjustments to become the defense that you guys want them to become in Atlanta. Captain Spartan 04 says, Joey Bosa versus Vic Beasley, who's better? Well, Beasley is in his second year. Bosa is in his first. Obviously, you're going to go with Bosa right now because Bosa he's got 4 sacks in 3 games. And it took Vic Beasley all of last year to get 4 sacks. I think he had 4.5 sacks last year. So it's Bosa right now. But I'm going to tell you what, Vic Beasley's starting to figure some things out, man. I'm happy for him. Really am. Captain Spartan 04 says, you don't have to read this out loud if you don't want to jinx it. Why does it? Oh, I'm not going to read it out loud. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that one alone. Sue Ellen says, you think the Chargers will win the AFC West? They got a shot. I'm going to tell you straight up. The more and more I watch this team, the more and more I become enamored with this Chargers football team. Like I said, I said it 2 weeks ago. I thought they were the most well-balanced and most dangerous team in that division. I stand by that statement. Nothing has changed. The only thing that makes me think they may not win that division is all the damage that they've done early in the season. Such an uphill battle to climb. The Broncos are going to win tonight, and they're going to get to 5 wins. This Chargers team, because of the losses early in the season and the opportunities that they've wasted, it may be a long uphill climb, but if they can get some help from teams around them, beating the teams that they need to lose above them, Raiders already at 5 wins and owning a win over this Chargers team. Broncos could get to 5 wins tonight. However, Chargers already beat them once. But bottom line is, you got to take care of your business. You can't worry about what the other teams are doing around the division. You win enough games, and I say this all the time, another one of my sayings, you win, you take care of your business, and everything will take care of itself. You go out and you execute, you win ball games, you find a way to win games late like this instead of losing them like you have in the past. You find a way to get it done, and everything will work itself out. So they have a legit shot, but they got an uphill battle to climb, no doubt about it. Eagle Speed is a nerd says, I hope we don't go to the playoffs since we won't do anything there anyways. That's not the mindset to have. All bets are off once you get to the big dance. Once you get a ticket to get inside, all bets are off, man. Craig Smith says, my Bolts could and should be 7-0. You damn right you should. Never mind the injuries and the Bosa holdout. The late meltdowns have screwed us. You're absolutely correct, man. This team should be 7-0. I had Raiders fans coming after me when I said that. They said they weren't supposed to beat us. We dominated them. You were down 8 at the crib, bruh. When Phillip Rivers threw the interception, you were down 24-16. Then they had a fumble on the next possession. They were beating you. You couldn't stop them on offense. This team should be 7-0. You are absolutely right, Craig. Damn shame. Courage the Cowardly Dog says, how would you have Julio Jones versus Jason Verrett matchup play out? Man, that would have been fun to watch. I love me some Jason Verrett. Only thing there is Julio is so much bigger than him. I'm talking Verrett's got to be every bit of 5'10". Julio is every bit of 6'4". So that's the only problem you get there is he's at a mismatch, and Verrett's probably about a $190, 95 soaking wet. Julio's looking like every bit of 215, 220. Hell, even 225 maybe. He's a big, big man. That's the only thing that I say in that matchup, Julio might have been able to abuse him with his size. DG Production says, do you like Dan as a coach over all and the message that he is trying to send to his team? Yeah, I like Dan Quinn. I think he's the perfect guy for this job. It's going to take time. You can't expect him to change the culture of this team overnight. All right, he's only been there. This is his second season. He's trying to implement a new defense. He's finally getting all the parts he needs to make this defense work. You got to give him time to fix this and get this thing to operate the way that he wants. And I think it's going in the right direction. I Break for Rapper says, did you watch ESPN First Take on this game? And what do you think of them not mentioning the Chargers at all? No, I don't watch First Take. I told you guys that already. I hate First Take. I don't watch ESPN very often. I don't go there for much of anything other than the actual football telecast. I'm not an ESPN dude. Haven't been in quite some time. And that's part of the reason why right there. First Take is horrible because those guys don't know football. You got a basketball guy trying to talk football. You got a boxing guy trying to talk football. Does that make any sense to you? I know how to stay in my lane. I know a lot about boxing. I know a lot about basketball, but I don't try to talk those with people who know basketball. You know why? Because they know basketball. I'm a casual observer of the league, okay? But make no mistake about it. I'm a football guy. I'm going to stick to my guns. Those are guys outside of their lanes, outside of their level of expertise, trying to talk to me about something they know nothing about. Stay in your lane. I just stay away from those dudes altogether. Eagle Speed is a nerd says, cornerback, it says Poe is a stud. If we play him man-to-man coverage with these corners, would be a top 15 defense. I don't know who you're talking about. I think you're talking about Poole. You put Poe. His name is Poole. Yeah, he is. I like him a lot, man. He's really growing on me. He really is. PD Pablo says, Raiders and Chiefs and Denver making this division rigid for the Bolts. It's a good division. Top to bottom, it's tough. We said that this was going to be a really good division when the season started because the only thing that was surprising is Denver. No one expected Denver to be this good. I think a lot of people thought they would take a huge step back. And again, I made that assumption thinking that Dirty Chaz was going to be their quarterback. They made the right decision in going with Simeon, and he's made this team a contender again. So the Raiders playing good football. A lot of people expected the Raiders to play good football. Their defense is horrible. Their offense is good. The Chiefs, they're a balanced team. They're not going to scare you on the offensive end. And really, their defense hasn't been all that great either this season. They've been okay. They're still missing Justin Houston. If he comes back at any level of what we've seen from him in the past, then they're going to be scary defensively. If not, then you got some situations there that may be a little unsettling for the teams in that division. But in any event, Eagle Speed is a nerd. What position should the Falcons draft in the first round? Hard to say. Still a lot of season left. Those things tend to reveal themselves as the year plays out. You'll figure out exactly. You'll know, okay, we got to have one of these, moving forward. Right now, kind of hard to say what exactly you need. You could definitely, I still think you need more pass rush. Dwight Freeney is a Band-Aid. What is he, 87 years old? It's cool to have him. But you need an upgrade. You need a young stud, another stallion opposite of Vic Beasley that can play on every down and not just be a situational pass rusher like Dwight Freeney. So right now, the first position that jumps off the page at me is pass rusher. But again, that could change. You got to let the season play out. DG Production says, how long until the Falcons come along on defense and host? How scary will they be then? It takes time. You never know. Every player develops at a different rate. Devondre Campbell might take 2.5 years to figure it out, and then the light bulb comes on for him, whereas Dion Jones is balling right now. Keanu Neal looks like he is an impact player right out of the packaging. I mean, they took him out the box. There was a little bit of a dent on him, so they sent him back to the shop for a couple of weeks. He came back brand new. They opened up the package, and the man was ready to rock and roll. So he looks legit right now. Devondre Campbell, not so much. Still think he's a guy that has to develop a little bit more. But in any event, it's going to come together at some point with these young players, all of these guys falling into place. You see Vic Beasley didn't come together in the first year. The light bulb's starting to come on now. Everyone evolves at a different rate. So hard to say. It's hard to say, but if they can get all these athletic guys on one accord, this defense is going to look similar to what it looks like in Seattle. And that could be scary. Now, I will tell you this. Losing Alford potentially in the offseason is going to hurt. Unless that young fella that you drafted out of LSU is the real deal, that's going to hurt you because I think Brian Poole is more of a slot guy than he is out wide. And if Collins isn't good, then you're going to be hurt because you need to be able to play on the outsides with the defense that they want to play. You got to have two corners for that. And right now you got the perfect setup in the secondary, but if you don't find a replacement for Alford, if he even leaves, that's assuming that you can't re-sign him. We'll see what happens there. But Craig Smith says, what are your thoughts on the young guns? Boza, Henry, T. Williams, Jay Brown, Gordon, Perryman. I told you I thought the Chargers were the most talented team in this division. I said that 2 weeks ago. I said that. I ran off all those names you just ran off. I love me some J. Cole. I love me some Jatavis Brown. If you've been watching the Rookie Wall, if you haven't, shame on you. But I have a list that I do on Louie Tee Live every Wednesday on my show. It's called the Rookie Wall, where I chronicle and list the top 7 rookies in the league every week. And it's a cumulative list. So if the guy's been performing well all year and he has a down week, he might still be on the list. But Jatavis Brown and Triple H were on the list last week. Both of them made the list. Triple H might fall off the list because he didn't do much in this game. Only had one grab to my recollection. But Jatavis Brown is a stud. I love all of this young talent. I get upset because of all the injuries every year with this team. Could you imagine Jason Verrett coupled with what Casey Hayward has brought to the table in San Diego? I mean, you got Mauger, guys like that stepping up, playing good. Phillips, I like him at the safety position. I really like what the Chargers are doing with that team. Give some credit where it deserves to be right now. Your guys have gotten it done in the front office, okay? Tom Telesco and company, you say what you want about their managerial skills. They don't have a problem picking players, all right? Eagle Speed is a nerd. Are you a Thomas Dimitrov fan? I don't have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with him at all. All right, Angel says, I love the way our top 2 pups we drafted this year look good for the future. I like them as well. And DG Production says, what is the issue with re-signing Robert? We're low on cap space or something, LOL. I should know this. If you can get him back, great. You know, I've kept hearing this. This is the thing. I don't know what your cap situation is. This is why I need you guys to tell me what's good out there, because I don't know what your cap situation. I just been hearing, well, Robert will be gone and I can't keep both of them. We got to resign both Robert and Desmond. I thought it was going to be similar to the Rams situation last year with both of their corners coming up at the same time. They had Trumaine Johnson and they had my man that's in New York now as free agents at the same time, and they couldn't pay both of them. So what ended up happening was they franchised Trumaine and they let Janoris Jenkins walk, and he went to New York. And I thought that you guys were going to be in a similar situation where you're going to have to pick one. Well, we know which one you're going to pick. You're not going to let Desmond Trufant walk because he's the legit number 1 in this league. So that's why I said that. I could be wrong, and you might be able to keep him, and that'd be great. If you can, then you got the perfect setup for this defense to be good as early, legit good as early as next season. So that's going to do it. I mean, I really appreciate all of you guys chiming in on this breakdown, man. Big game, big come from behind victory by the Chargers. They get it done 33-30 in overtime, an exhilarating football game. Falcons are now 4-3, 2 consecutive losses after the hot 4-1 start. Need to get back on the horse next week. Green Bay, big game in the NFC. You need that one. Green Bay not playing the best of football. You got to find a way to win that one if you're the Falcons. Meanwhile, for the Chargers, this is a big win. Gets you to 3-4. You're right there in the thick of things in the AFC West. We'll see what happens with the Broncos tonight. All indications point to them winning this game, but it doesn't matter. You take care of yours, and you'll find yourself in the mix at season's end. That's going to do it for your man here, Louie T, on lockdown coverage if it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small. We cover it all here in the lab room. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. Go ahead, finish watching Monday Night Football as I will do. And then I'll come back, reconvene with you guys on Monday Night Football overtime. I'll see you then. Have a good one.